Hello there, my name's Kevin Shep, and I wanted to start something kind of new today. I stumbled upon this idea of a video podcast where basically you can film yourself straight video like I am right now. I'm sorry you can't see me, I'm driving in my car because I'm a busy dude. But the idea is you can record a video and then upload that audio from that video on a podcast and upload the video itself to YouTube, so you have two platforms covered with the same content. I think this is a really interesting idea. I myself have been creating different types of content for the last 5 years on the internet, and I've hit mild success and major failures, I'm not gonna lie, but I've tried to figure it out all on my own. Over the last year and a half, I've really, I think, taken the next step, and that's where you have to tell yourself, hey, you know, it's not easy to figure this stuff out on your own, and there's people who have done it successfully before that you can learn from. So that's really, I think, the step I'm on right now, is trying to learn from people who have been successful attempting what I'm trying to do. Now, what am I trying to do? Way too much. And that's one of my main problems I have with the platform YouTube, or creating a specific podcast. You have to stick to your niche. You got to stick to your topic. And I'm so freaking scatterbrained all the time. I'm interested in more than one thing, believe it or not. And I want to create a show, a video podcast that I can put out there daily, where I can talk about what I'm doing and I can talk about what I've learned. And it doesn't matter what the niche or topic that I'm diving into that day. I think it'll still be an interesting bit of content, and I'll have that day, you know, every day recorded, you know, of what I've learned and what I'm trying to do and my goals and my accomplishments. And I think it'll be a nice self-feeding feedback loop, right? So I'm gonna create this little fun bit of I guess it's spoken meditation. It's just kind of getting what's on my mind out there, but also in a way that I can help other people, you know, avoid my mistakes or learn lessons that I'm learning, or, you know, different types of things. Check out the content that I've created for different channels or blogs or whatever. And I mean, I've got a lot of lines out, right? Most people, they say, you know, one fishing pole, pay attention to that fishing pole, and you'll catch a fish. I've got so many lines in the water from years of trying to make money on the internet and just trying to understand how this whole thing works. How do people do this? How do you monetize? How do you create content that people are interested in? That's still fun and, you know, doesn't take part of your soul. So I think this video podcast that I'm starting right now, this is episode 1, I think it's important just to get started on this, because, you know, every great journey starts with the first step, right? And I could get self-conscious about it, I could over-plan it, I could over-analyze, and I've done all these things before with different types of content. I've over-analyzed, I've put it off, I've stressed about it, I've thought, you know, it'll never be the way I want it. But with this, I think if I just let go and just talk about, you know, what my focus is for that day, and just try and create a daily podcast talking about my goals, talking about what I've learned, talking about what I've created, I really think that will help me stick to, you know, my goals and help me accomplish more. So if you've thought about starting a podcast or thought about starting a YouTube channel, I would recommend doing what I'm doing right now, and that's doing a video podcast and just pump it out there. Just get your first episode done. publish it on YouTube, and then publish it on all the major podcast platforms. I personally use Anchor. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to take this video and format it into an audio form. I haven't even got that far, okay? I think it's more important just to get started and get going. So this is episode 1 of the podcast, and here in a second we're going to come up with a name for it. So at first I was thinking of naming it something like Kevin's Daily Update, but now I'm thinking, since the main focus is on what I've learned, what I've used, and what I've made that day, because every day I do all 3 of those things. I try to. I think it should be called something like learn, use, make daily. That doesn't have a very good ring to it. How about learn, use, make, repeat? That could be fun. I like that. Learn, use, make, repeat. So welcome to the podcast. Sorry about the lighting and the audio and the lack of planning and basically any kind of structure that most programs would have. I'm going to try and keep it light. I'm going to try and stay on my toes, and most of all, I'm going to be honest. So let's talk about what I've learned today. I learned that you can double the purpose of your content by creating a video podcast. Now, I've been on YouTube for over 3 years. I have several channels. Let's go ahead and run down them real quick. I've got Kevin Shep, which is my name. That's my first YouTube channel. I've got like 200 or 300 videos on there where I was just throwing stuff at the wall. I mean, any wild hair that came along that made me want to create a video, I would do it and then I'd publish it. There's no rhyme or reason to that channel at all. Very similar to what's going to happen with this podcast. It's just going to be willy-nilly. Every day is going to be different. It's going to be what I learned, what I used, what I made. And then I'm going to repeat it every day. That's the goal. So I talked about my first YouTube channel. That was Kevin Shep. You can check it out. Kevin Shep, SCHEPP. I have another channel called Your Helpful Affiliate, where I talk about affiliate marketing, blogging, referral programs, basically trying to make money online using referral or affiliate programs. I also have a website that goes with that YouTube channel. It's yourhelpfulaffiliate.com. And then I have another YouTube channel about 3D printing. And that At-Home 3D. And on that At-Home 3D YouTube channel, I talk about 3D printing. I share time-lapse videos of my own 3D prints using my 3D printers. I talk about creating files for 3D printing. All stuff 3D printing that I'm into, I'll talk about on that channel. And then I want to create a 4th channel about coin ring making, which I haven't started yet. And that's what I want to talk about more on this podcast. So by now you can tell I've got quite a few, like I said, like fishing lines in the water. I've got websites, I've got blogs, I've got YouTube channels, I've got an old podcast I kind of just let sit and die. And I'm gonna make something more. I'm gonna make more stuff. Because right now I'm really interested in creating coin rings. And if you've never heard of coin rings, I don't blame you. If you have, thumbs up for you, dude. You've got your pulse on the cool stuff. Coin rings are basically rings you can wear on your fingers that are made out of coins, quarters, half dollars, gold coins, silver coins, all different types of coins you can use. And I just think it's really neat, and it's actually quite fun to take something like a quarter that you've handled thousands of times and make it into something, you know, beautiful that somebody can wear, and it's really neat. So I kind of dove down the YouTube rabbit hole of coin ring making recently, did a bunch of research, and then went out and bought some tools for it. Now, you can easily end up spending quite a bit of money getting tools to make coin rings. I spent, I think, about $250, and I still don't have everything I need. But it's a lot of fun. I can make pretty basic coin rings, but to get the process of making the rings a little more streamlined and make the end product of the coins just look nicer, be more uniform, I'll need to get a ring stretcher, which is a tool that has kind of like a spike sticking up out of it and a handle. You put your ring on there and you pull the handle back, and it slowly stretches the ring to larger and larger sizes. And that's just something I don't have right now. So what am I using instead? I'm using a 6.5-inch mandrel that I got from Hobby Lobby, which is not the best tool for doing this, let me tell you that right now. But it's the only mandrel I was able to find anywhere near where I live. And I screwed up when I ordered one online, and it's still going to be a week before it gets here. I ordered this thing like 20 days ago, and it's still got a week in shipping. So be careful when you order stuff. Make sure you pay attention to how long it's going to take to show up, because you may be waiting for a while. So while I was waiting, I kind of came up with a different tactic to create coin rings, and I'm going to talk to you about that here in just a second. So let's quickly run through my current process of making a coin ring. Right now I'm working exclusively with quarters that I'm cutting a 1/2-inch hole in with a punch and die kit that I got from Harbor Freight, and I use a regular hammer, and I just beat on the punch, and it punches a hole through the quarter. The first few times I did this, I didn't get exactly center, and I tried a couple different ways to mark the quarter and maneuver it around within the punch and die kit to get it perfectly centered, and it just never quite lined up correctly. So I created a little tool on my 3D printer. I went to tinkercad.com, which is a free CAD software that's hosted on like a web page, so you don't even have to download any software, and you can quickly create something on there that's a 3D file that can be 3D printed. And what I did was I made a small rectangle that would fit into the punch and die kit that has 2 circles on it. The first circle fits the quarter, and the second circle fits the 1/2-inch punch. So it lines up perfectly every time. So I've totally eliminated the centering of the hole in the quarter problem. So that's step one, is punch a hole in the quarter right in the middle. I've got that taken care of. And after that, you need to do your first initial fold. And I got, also from Harbor Freight, a 1-ton arbor press and like a curbing block that came with some ball bearings on like sticks, like metal sticks, and I'll do that first bend on the quarter using those on the Harbor Freight press, and that just kind of gives the first initial fold on the coin. And once I do that, I'll slide the coin onto my tiny 6-inch mandrel and just wail on it with a hammer. And I really, really disliked how that affected my hands. It hurt my hands, it made them numb, it took a very long time, so I dove back down on the rabbit hole of YouTube trying to find a way to stretch and shape a ring on a mandrel without banging directly on the ring on the quarter with a hammer. And what I found is you can get a 3/4 inch PVC pipe and get a cap for that pipe and put it on one end, and then slide that pipe onto your mandrel and bang on it, and that will bend and shape your quarter all the way down the mandrel evenly, and it doesn't put as much shock onto your hands. Now, I do want to say that I have already broken my PVC pipe doing this, so you need to be careful. You need to wear eye protection, you need to wear hand protection, you need to make sure you don't hit your hands, and be aware that this PVC pipe could break basically anytime you hit it. So you need to be very careful. I've since I broke it the first time, I cut off the broken part, evened it up on the end, and then I used Gorilla Tape as kind of a reinforcement to keep it from cracking, keep it from breaking as quickly. So that's what I do to shape the ring. And then after that, I have a 17-degree reduction. I think it's called reduction. I'll have to look it up just a second. Okay, so I looked it up, and it's called a 17-degree reduction or folding die. And the measurements, it has two sides. The bigger side starts out at 1 inch, and then the smaller side starts out at 0.9 inches. So you can use this to kind of shape your rings to be more curvy, and also reduce the size of the ring if one side is more flared out than the other one. That's what I use it for most of the time, because the ridge side of the ring, at least for me, always looks just a little too fat. It looks flared out. So I like to reduce that side just a little bit, so that the band of the ring is nice and flat, and it looks like a ring instead of like a funnel. And that's basically the process that I'm using right now to create coin rings. I'm really excited that I've actually been able to get finished products out, finished coin rings made. But unfortunately, with the mandrel I have and the lack of a ring stretcher, I really can't do much as far as a size range. I'm really kind of stuck between maybe like a 6 and an 8, and I can't really go above or below that when I'm making rings because of the tools that I have. Now, if you want to get into coin ring making and you don't want to spend, $250 like I have seen people do it with just a mandrel, a quarter, a drill, which they use to drill the center of the quarter out, which is a lot of work. Now, I'm going to tell you, the cheap way is a lot of work. So every tool you add to your toolkit for making these rings is going to make the process 100 times easier. But you can, with just a hammer, a drill, and a mandrel, beat your ring to the approximate shape of a ring. And I think this is really cool. I've been interested in coins for a long time, but I've also been interested in making things for a long time, but I never really thought about making things out of coins. And it's really, it's one thing to like go and research about it and see other people do it. It's a very different experience to shape and mold something with your own hands, and especially if you're not using any electricity. That's been a really interesting part of this process. Is everything is muscle power, or machine, and not exactly machine, but tool power, which makes the experience quite interesting. I'm very used to being heavy-handed in the tech side of things. Like I said, I'm into creating websites and blogs and podcasts and YouTube videos and playing with 3D printers. So I'm very into like computers and tech and stuff like that. And it's kind of nice to kind of get away from that and basically make something with my own hands, for my own hands, which I think is really interesting. So far, coin ring making has been, it's been an interesting, difficult, eye-opening journey. I've learned a lot of things, and I still think I have a lot to learn. Like, I said I've created rings. I said I've made coin rings, but they are the bare minimum of what a coin ring is, okay? I could do so much better. I have a long way to go. And that's why I want to create another, I guess, brand to follow me on my journey as I learn more and more about coin ring making, and just sharing the lessons I learn along with the experience and what I've made. So I think the thing I need to come up with tomorrow is a name of the brand. And right now I'm thinking just Coin Ring Maker. Has a nice sound to it, a nice ring to it. I'll have to see if that's taken or not. But other than that, that's what I'm going to think about and work on tomorrow. I want to thank you for joining me for my first episode, and I hope you'll come back tomorrow. All right, you guys have a great day. Bye.